everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here, a very warm welcome to you. My name's Emily and I am a knitter, crocheter and very occasional sewer. Today's episode I will be frogging some projects. Yes, and I will also be answering some of your questions. So thank you to everyone who left me questions. You really showed up, thank you. I should be able to answer all of them. I don't think I missed any, but there's every possibility that I did, so my apologies if I did. And then I will credit everyone at the end of the video, purely because I don't have the list of everyone here. I collated all the questions and merged them. I've also put them under little subheadings. I've tried to group them as best I can, and in the chapters below I will have each of those subheadings so that you can navigate as best as possible. But yeah, so thank you all so much for the questions. It's been very exciting to see them, and some very interesting ones as well. I'm excited to get in. Also, I'm in a different setting. For those of you who have been with me since the start, you may remember this setting. This was where it all started. So welcome back. And I am here purely because I have a lot of stuff on the table. I have all the projects. I also have my wall winder, which I'll be setting up in just a moment. I probably should have set it up already, but I haven't anyway. I also have my laptop just here with all of your questions on. The font is very small, so this is going to be interesting. And obviously I have, if I look below, if I look about here, that is my screen duplication, so I can just make sure that you are seeing everything that I want you to see. Right. Now then, I think we should, I'm going to do a quick intro before I get into the questions. I'm going to do a quick intro into the projects. But before I do that, if you have any projects that you also want to frog, please go and grab them. Get yourself a cuppa, get yourself some snacks. Do all of those, even if you don't have any projects to frog. And yeah, let's hunker down. Let's have a bit of a frogging party. It's exciting. Right, I'm going to show you the projects before I start. Let me just open up. I don't know why. Several things at once. My brain is just all over the place. Also, this video might be a bit choppy just because my car is in for its MOT and service at the minute, and I am expecting a call from the garage at any point today. So if the video stops at any point and jumps, that is probably why. I'm going to try and do it all in one, but no promises. It's going to be a hectic day for me. So without further ado, the projects. So the first one is this lovely, I nearly thwapped myself in the face, these lovely socks. These are the socks that I couldn't find when I was showing my works in progress. So these are the self-striping yarn by Gemma of The Little Grey Girl. This is her 2022 Ravelry colourway. So here it is, self-striping colourway. And it was a sock set, so I got the contrasting yarn with the self-striping yarn as well. So I'm frogging these today because I would prefer to find a pattern that I can use rather than just winging it, because this is me just having a play. It looks all right, but I could do better if I had a nice pattern. I'm already getting tangled. This is going well. It's just, oh no. The next project that I do have, that I'm going to be frogging today, move that over there, is the lovely streamline tank. I believe this is by 2 of 1s. I haven't done a lot, and I think I've done the wrong size. I'm not entirely sure, but that is another one that I'm going to be frogging today. So there it is. It's made using Lion Brand Kobu yarn. I have a ton of this and I really wanted to use it for a project, hence this. But I made it at the wrong time of year because I'm not going to wear this anytime soon. So it makes sense to frog it now, and then when I've got a bit more brain space and less works in progress on the needles, I can then start it again. So that's another one. Another one I have that I'll be frogging today, sadly, is my lovely For Fuck's Sake sweater. Yes, I have made the decision. I am going to frog it. Yeah, it's going to be a big one, this one. But yes, it is just a tad too big for me. I would much rather take it slowly and block it as I go, similar to what I did with my pink fizz, because that is just the most wonderful sweater ever. So I really want to take the time and care that I put into that sweater into this sweater. Plus, I think I've discovered a new technique for carrying long floats. So that's exciting. So this is getting frogged today, which is sad news, but it's also good, nice, because I'll be able to give it more love and care. So that's another one. And then the final one, I'm not going to frog, just quickly, I'm not going to frog my deep V sweater. So this one is the one where the sleeves don't fit the hole on the body. I am going to frog back on the sleeve to a certain point, but I need to have a bigger think about this one. So this one I'm not going to frog today because I do need to spend a bit more time just figuring that out. But the final one that I am frogging today is this beautiful On the Spice Market shawl by Melanie Berg, and it's beautiful, but because I left it so long waiting to tie in all the ends as usual, I left it on a dusty box for must have been months, and we have some delightful eating holes throughout the shawl, which is not great. I've fixed a fair number of them, I have tried, but I just lost heart with fixing it. Yeah, I think I would do a much better job if I made it again. Plus I have also found all the yarn. So here's all the leftovers. There is the blue one at the bottom as well, somewhere in there. Trust me, it's there. The blue one is at the bottom. So I've got all the leftovers still. So it makes sense to just frog it, reclaim what I can, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. So those are the projects that I'm frogging today. First things first, I'm going to set up my wool winder. It's all right, my messages are going mad. I don't know why. As I say, I am waiting for my car to come back, for the man from the garage to phone me about my car, but I'm not expecting that anytime soon. So I'm trying to think where the best place to put this is. I might put it over here actually. So I'm just going to set up my wool winder, and I'm going to start with the questions because I do have a question relating to frogging. So I figured I would start with the frogging. Hang on. I would start with the frogging question first. It's all right. I'm just trying to. I think we're on. We're on. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to start with the frogging question first because it makes sense to start with the frogging one because that's what we're here to do today. So the first question. Also, before I dive in with that, the first thing I'm frogging is my socks because it's the quickest one. So let's start preparing. Okay, the first question is, when you rewind the yarn, do you use it in a ball or cake? Do you soak it and try to hank it first to try and get some of the curliness out? This font is so small, bear with me. Little behind the scenes here. Why have I done like the smallest font? Oh right, okay, right, I can read that now. When you rewind the yarn, do you use it in a ball, cake, or do you soak it and try to hank it first to try and get some of the curliness out of it? What is the best way to proceed for the best results? So, I don't really have a specific way, if I'm honest. Let me grab that. So when I frog things, it's usually to frog them and to re-knit straight away. So for example, on my deep V sweater, let me grab it. I have frogged and re-knit these sleeves. Hang on. I have frogged and re-knit these sleeves a couple of times. One of them, I don't know what happened. I think I accidentally started knitting the wrong size and we are so tangled. A premonition of what's to come, I imagine. But yeah, with this, it was pre-understanding the fact that you could soak and kind of stretch and then so that the yarn loses its memory. My words are failing me. This was pre that. So I basically frogged the whole sleeve and then I knit the sleeve back up using the yarn that I just ripped out. So the yarn had memory and it meant that it got really curly. So let me start frogging and I'll show you what I mean. So there we go. That is what happens to yarn because yarn, let me get a bit more slack, because yarn has a memory. It remembers being in this sort of shape, if you will. So that generally tends to be what happens. And especially if you have a project that has been, I'm in a right mess here, especially if you have a project that has been sitting around for a long time. So for example, if I was to frog this, it would have a lot more memory than, say, I don't know, some socks that I'm working on, that I cast on a couple of days ago, for example. So these socks are going to have quite a lot of memory, and as you can see, they do. But I'm having a right issue here. Why is there so much yarn going on? So yes, this question is a good one, and it's one that I don't have a very tried and tested answer for, I'm afraid. Some projects I will completely frog and just immediately start again. So I'll have the ball, and like what I'm doing here, I'll just wind it on as I frog. So you can't see it, no. So I'm just pulling the yarn and it's coming out of the project. I'm just winding it onto the cake. What that means is you are going to get kind of it's not going to be a perfect knit when you re-knit the yarn, especially if it's that curly. It's going to look a bit, the tension's going to look a bit off. Usually if you block, it should be fine. But if it is something that bothers you, it's probably worth soaking the yarn and getting a niddy noddy. A niddy noddy is something that has a bar at the top and a bar at the bottom, and they kind of are at different points to each other. It's really hard to explain. Why didn't I prepare more? I do have one, but it's very small. I could do with a bigger one, to be honest, because in answer to, this is like the biggest answer, in answer to your question, this project, because I've not done a lot and it is a small project, and this yarn is probably going to sit around for a little bit longer, I'm just going to wind it on the ball, the cake even, and just let it be. And not worry too much about the curliness. I think it also, in that vein, it kind of depends upon the kind of project that you're working on as well. Like this pair of socks, they're a pair of socks, so it doesn't really matter too much to me. But if they're a pair of socks that are a gift, you might want to give it a little soak, and then maybe put the yarn on a Swift and let it dry on the Swift. That is probably the best advice that I can give. As I say, it's not something that I've really looked into too much. And at the minute, this is the first, I'm in a tangle again. This is the first big frogging session that I've ever had. So yes, I think it would be down to the person and the project. For a sweater, I would most likely soak the yarn for a sweater. For a pair of socks, no. For a sweater, yes. And then I would try and get as much of the kinks out as I can. Again, it also depends on the yarn you're using. So if you spent a lot of money on the yarn, for example, you might want to try and get rid of the curliness, just to try and make it a bit nicer to work with as well, because it isn't super easy to work with when you've got really, really curly yarn. So yeah, my apologies, I don't have a tried and true answer for you on that one. But what I would say, if anybody has had a lot of frogging experience and have a particular way that you like to treat the yarn after you've frogged a project, let us know in the comments below, because I'm very curious about it, because as I say, this is the first real big frogging that I'm doing. And as I say, with this pair of socks, which I have just frogged, I have just wound up the cuff yarn into a little loose ball and just wound this yarn back onto the cake. So that is project one frogged, which is great. But yeah, that's all I'm going to do with this yarn. I'm not going to soak it. I'm not going to do anything else with it. I'm just going to leave this on the cake. I do have my ball winder here. So it's just the Knit Pro wall winder. So I will be using this as I frog some of the projects, because there's going to be a lot of yarn, a large length of yarn. And I think it would just be easier to use the ball winder to unwind it basically, and also to manage the yarn. And then I can decide after that if it's a project that I really want to soak the yarn for. So I hope that answers your question. And again, my apologies that I don't have enough, I haven't frogged enough to have a tried and true method that I would recommend and that I would ordinarily do. But yeah, for me, depends on the project and the yarn. Yeah, that's unfortunately all I have for you on that. But as I say, please comment below if you do have any recommendations for what you do with frog projects, because I would like to know as well, to be honest. Right, on to the next project. I'm going to frog this one. This is the Streamline tank. And the next question. So we're into the crafting journey questions. And yeah, there were a couple of duplicates in this one. So I only have 2 questions, but they're exciting. So the first question is, how old were you when you learned to knit and who taught you? And on that same vein, there was also a question saying, when did you start knitting? So those are technically the same question. So I'm just going to pull this off the needle. So I will answer them in one. So how old was I? Unfortunately, I would love to be one of these people with an absolutely wonderful memory, and I wish I could tell you the exact age I was when I learned to craft, when I learned to knit and crochet. But unfortunately, I'm not. I don't remember the exact age. What I do remember is I was in single digits, that's for sure, because I was very young. And it was my mum who taught me to knit. She taught me to knit and to crochet. To me, it is one in the same. Not the craft, but my knitting and my crochet journey are one in the same. And that is because I learned to do both at the same time. And whenever I pick one up, I'm usually picking the other one back up as well. So I'm just going to get myself a cup of tea. Hang on. So although it does specifically say knitting here, yes, I was quite young, very young, in single digits, and it was my mum who taught me. I did used to go to my cousin's house every Friday. We used to go and visit 2 of my aunts and uncles' houses, and one of my cousins was a crocheter, and me and my cousin used to sit and we used to crochet together. So it was really nice. My nan was a very, very prolific knitter. She made a lot of Christmas decorations for the tree and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of knitting and crafting in the family. One of my aunts, she's an absolutely phenomenal quilter. And if I'm correct, I believe she does it all by hand as well. So yeah, there's a lot of crafting in the family. So I've had a lot of inspiration from that, but it was, yeah, very young, and it was my mum who taught me. Let me know actually below, when did you learn and who taught you? Because yeah, I always like to learn about others as well. So I'm just winding this back onto the ball. Again, I've got the curliness, but I think it'll be fine. It'll be sitting around like this for a while anyway. Right, on to the next crafting journey question. What was your first real project? And in the same vein of that, what was the first project you made? So similar to, I can't remember how old I was. I can't really remember what project was my first, but I know there is one that sticks out vividly in my mind, and I used to make these frogs. I'm trying to remember it now. It was a really cute little frog with the big eyes on top. It was cute. And then it had really long legs and arms. And I used to make it I made it for a couple of people who had had babies, and it was for their children. And I made that a number of times, as I say. And I feel like the first time I made that was my first real project. It was a knitted frog. It was just a lovely, lovely pattern. It was a lovely frog, really nice. I think I made 3 of them in total, but yeah, I think that's the first one that really sticks out in my memory as to first real project. I think in terms of garments, it would have been my Af Miley sweater, which, believe it or not, I didn't make until, I finished it in 2017. So yeah, that was, my crafting journey has been a bit all over the place. So I learned when I was a child, and then went to school, went to college, went to university, and it's sort of, you kind of get different interests, and you get in with different group of friends and things like that, and different things become important. And crafting to me then, didn't have quite the ring as it does these days. And it wasn't until we moved into this house, which I can't remember when that was. It was a good few years ago. Gosh, probably coming on 10 years, 9 or 10 years, I imagine. Maybe 8, I don't know. But it's been a good few years that I re-picked everything up. And as I say, 2017 was when I made what I would consider my first real garment, which was the Miley sweater. Beautiful sweater. Right, now onto the next section, which is projects. Let me try and wind this. That's a lot of yarn, isn't it? Oh my gosh. It's on the floor. It fell off the table. I don't know if you saw that, but it did fall off the table. I hope that what you're viewing is enough in terms of frogging, and I hope you're enjoying frogging at the minute. Oh, let me know actually what your first project was, if you can remember it. I'm always amazed by how much other people do remember about their crafting journey. As I say, I wish I could, but yeah, it's been a long time since I learned, so sadly that is the truth of the matter. Right, now I have just finished frogging my streamlined tank, so that one can go there. Oh, which one are we going to do next? Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I'm going to save, for fuck's sake, till last. So we'll go with this one. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I don't know how much yarn I have going on here. So I think I'm going to do these individual colours as I've done with this. So just very loose little balls. And then when I get to this section, when I've got a really big sort of beigey creamy section, I think that's when I'll use the ball winder for that big section, and the little bits in between I will yeah, I'll see how we go. I might need a pair of scissors actually because there's a lot of knots. Right, on to the next section, which was projects. So the first question is how do you choose your next project? It's a good question. I've said this many times, I am very much a shiny object person. I'm going to start at the other end, hang on. I can't remember where I cast off. I think this is the cast, yeah, that's the cast off. So I am very much a shiny object person. So a lot of my project choices come from Instagram. And that is purely because I follow a lot of designers on there, and whenever I see a new project that they've designed, you know, a new design that they've come out with that I absolutely love, that tends to be the next thing that I want to cast on. And oh gosh, yeah, this is going to be quite difficult to do. Oh no, it's all right, the yarn has been a bit chewed and everything, it's just a nightmare. So yeah, Instagram is definitely a big one for me in terms of figuring out what project I'm going to do next. I don't really have a good way of deciding. I'm trying to think the best way to explain this. I'm not one of these people who does summer knits or autumn knits or winter knits. I've never been that organised, if I'm honest. I'd like to be that organised, to be fair. I'm just trying to figure out what is actually happening here. Ah, there we go. All right, we're going. Let me cut that because someone's had a good old chew at that bit. All right. So it's quite hard to answer questions and do things at the same time. So yes, Instagram is definitely where I go for a lot of my inspiration for projects. And in terms of choosing a project, I will usually have... depends what I really, really fancy casting on, what I'm more excited about casting on. And again, that is generally down to who's released what, do I really want to make it, and things like that. For, I'm trying to think of a recent example for you. So I guess with my Birds of Christmas, I really wanted to cast those on because I really wanted to do them. And that was an inspiration from an Instagrammer, actually, Martyn of Knit365. He made them, I think, last year, and I saw them and I thought they were absolutely beautiful, and I thought I need to try and make these because I think they'd look lovely in the house and things like that. So that was that project. So I guess what I could, the be all and end all of the question is Instagram or YouTube, and I'm heavily inspired by what I see. I don't generally think, oh, I need a new sweater, so I'm gonna look for a sweater pattern on Ravelry that fits my bill. I've never really looked at patterns in that way. It's usually getting inspired by what other people are making. Yeah, that's generally how I do it. Oh, that was quick. there's still some blue left. Oh, this is going to be interesting, very interesting. Right, where are we then? This is still blue, okay. Right, okay, so I hope that answers that one. On to the next one. What's the longest whip you have ever had? Okay, so the longest whip that I've had, I think, would be my granny square blanket. Now, I haven't shown this one because I don't consider it a work in progress anymore. I think the last time I worked on it was probably when we moved here, and then a couple of months in I decided I didn't like it. And it is basically, I think it's red, green and blue, I think. I could be wrong, it might not be blue, it's probably because I'm winding blue yarn. But it is basically a granny square blanket, and I started it before I think I started it, oh my gosh. I might have started it after I finished university, which was years ago. Oh, yeah, that's got to go. So, yeah, it was, sorry, there's lovely bits being bitten. This is going to take ages. So, yeah, that is definitely the longest one, I think. I can't tell you for how many years it's been a work in progress, but it's definitely been the longest in progress. And that is time between when I started it and when I decided that I wasn't going to work on it anymore. So although it's not a work in progress anymore, it's definitely been the longest one, and it is just sat upstairs waiting for me to decide what to do with it, because I'm just not a fan of it, basically. But yes, a lovely granny square blanket that is not my cup of tea anymore. Okay, so the next question, hang on, let me just get my next bit of yarn going. Okay, the next question. What is your least favourite knitting task other than weaving in ends? That's cheeky. Everybody knows, oh, hang on. Everybody knows that I am not a fan of weaving in ends at all. It is my least favourite task. Oh, do I have another? Gosh, I'm trying to think now. I guess I could say I am not a fan of waiting for a project to dry. This is not looking good. This has been eaten to pieces. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, I can't think of one. I guess, as I say, waiting for something to dry. Waiting for the blocking process to finish, I think. That's the only thing I can really say that without thinking. Yeah, I just really dislike tying in ends. So I can't think of anything else that would be worse or on par with that. Yeah, sorry, I don't really have a good answer for you on that one. Right, on to the next question. This one's quite a long one, bear with me. Are there patterns you would like to make but know you never will? Perhaps because you know you don't enjoy the stitch, or you can't imagine spending the time or money on them. Say one knitted and one crochet, or do you never say never? Now, you're gonna dislike, well, I don't know if you're gonna dislike me for this, but I like to think I can do everything. I like a challenge. I like to try things, and I will definitely give it a good go. So I think I would probably say I would be a person that would say never. I've not come across a pattern that I've looked at and thought I would really like to do that, but I don't know if I can, or I'm intimidated by it. I would say I'm intimidated, but I like learning, so I really enjoy there we go. I really enjoy learning, and I find that when I do a project that I look at and think, I'm not sure I can do this, I find I do kind of want to do it because I know I'm going to learn a lot in doing it. And chances are you'll probably learn this is really bad. Chances are you'll probably learn a new technique along the way that could help you with all of your other knitting projects. So yeah, I do like to take on that challenge, to be honest. One thing I would say is I'm not a big fan of seed stitch. I'm not a big fan of moss stitch. I'm also not a big fan of ribbing for an entire project. So I would probably say that I don't have any specific patterns that I can reel off. But I think anything containing those sort of stitches, I am a little more put off by. And that in that case, it would depend how much I would like to make that project, how beautiful the finished object is, and how much it is to my taste, basically, because that is, oh my gosh, that's no good. Yeah, so it's definitely, hang on. I definitely like to give it a good old go, that's for sure. I don't like to be intimidated, but I very much am by those stitches that I mentioned. But yeah, I love cable work, I love colour work. Colour work does put me off slightly, but I think I've found a new way to carry long floats. So hopefully I've figured that, you know, I can make that less intimidating for myself. But yeah, that's generally, I like to say never, because yeah, I mean, there's some beautiful patterns out there and I love to learn. So I think that is the best answer that I can give you for that question. Right, on to the next one. What have you chosen to do with the October mystery box yarns? Okay, so I think I have nailed a pattern down. My apologies in advance, because I did say that I was going to do an Advent video. This week has been an absolute nightmare, and last week, and next week will be also a nightmare. In terms of work. This is just a little segue here before I answer the question. I have gained 2 new members of my team, and I am having to train them up ready to take on tasks in December. So, and with December being quite a short month, and they are taking on a lot of other tasks. So I work in a certain department, and where I work, there are obviously a number of departments that we work in. And although I bridge both, and this is why I understand that they can't be fully expected to understand everything on my side, I will do my best. I've been preparing training for them and everything like that, so getting them on board. And yeah, we've had some new clients as well, so it's been an absolutely manic few weeks, and it will be manic for the next while actually, so Vlogmas is going to be fun. But yes, I did say I was going to do a video showing you how I come up with Advent projects, recommendations for Advent projects, but as of yet I have been unable to make that video because I just haven't had the time, unfortunately. That being said, onto your question, lovely question by the way. The October mystery box was inspired by Wednesday, the Netflix show Wednesday, and the yarn was dyed by Beehive Yarns. She did do a quick run, I think, of a pre-order of the box for anybody who wanted it after October, which was really, really nice of her to do. But yes, it's absolutely beautiful yarn. And I think I've decided what I want to do. And it's a top. I don't have the pattern to hand, but I will do, I will touch upon this either in my month-end wrap-up for November. Oh my gosh, month-end wrap-up for November, or I will do that Advent video, but I will tell you what I will be doing with them, and I will show you the pattern before I do it. Because the pattern is by the Little Wolf, no, I was about to say the Little Wolf Knits. Is it? Little Wolf Knits, I think. And I believe it's her Seaside Tea. Hang on, let me just load up the interwebs. Watch me not be logged in now. See. Tea? I think that's what it's called. No, it's not. It's not called the Seaside Tea at all. Oh, do you know what? Bear with me just a minute. I'm going to go grab it for you. I have it printed. I may as well show you. Okay, I was thinking of the Seaside Dress. So it is the Little Wolf Knit Designs, and it is this one, the Twisted T-shirt. So although it is one colour for the t-shirt, I'm going to do it in stripes. So I need to do some planning as to how thick the stripes are going to be. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do with the yarn. And I'm also going to use the 100-gram skein for the cuffs and collar and the hem. Can never think of words, but that is what I'm planning to do with them, because I have a lot of shawls, although I do wear a lot of shawls. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different with the with those yarns, because they're so special, and I really want to be able to wear them in a different manner than a shawl. So I thought a tee would be great, and that tee is quite a small tee, so I think that'd be really nice. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do with the October yarns. Right, let me get my questions back up. There we go. Okay, so will the adorable Toft birds remain in pride of place throughout the year, or will they become a seasonal decoration? Now, I think they are going to become seasonal decoration, I'm sorry to say. I love them being there. I'm just looking at them at the minute. I love them being there. They're absolutely beautiful, but they're not really in the decor, and I'm not sure how my partner would feel if those birds were sat there all year round. So the majority of them may go away, and then we might have one or two out on the mantelpiece. But yes, that is the plan. They are going to be seasonal decoration. They are beautiful though, and they would look good all year round, but as I say, I'm just not sure it's in keeping with the decor, and my partner, I'm not entirely sure how he would feel about having loads of Toft birds just sitting around the house. Plus, they're probably going to get dusty if they're sat around there for a while. So yeah, sadly, not pride of place, but I may leave one or two out, and I may put them in rotation. So all of them, probably not. But one or two probably, because they look cute there. I think they're nice there, and it'd be nice to have them, at least some, remain in the background of my video, because I don't get much opportunity to put yarny crafty goodness in the backs of my videos. So yeah, it would be nice to have some left out. Right, where am I? There's so many chomps out of this, it's unreal. It's really hard to wind. Also quickly on this, this particular yarn, I would probably recommend, if you do have a yarn or a project that you're frogging that has been eaten, I would probably recommend washing that one, soaking it, and that is purely just to make sure that any leftover crawlies are gone. So I would recommend soaking yarn that has been eaten. Just to make sure that you do tackle the problem. This has been around for a long time, so yeah, I think there's nothing left on it, and I'm going to take the risk that there's nothing left on it, but I would probably recommend, yes, just wash that yarn just to make sure. Yeah, that's just a little advisory, I would say. Right, that finishes the questions on projects. So now I've got a little segue into indie dyers, so independent dyers. So the question is, as someone who dyes yarn yourself, is there an indie dyer you especially admire? There are many, if I'm honest. There are many. But I think the one is there, and so yeah, one. So the one indie dyer that I think really inspires me, and that I really do admire, is the yarn artist. And the reason for that is because Joanna has, well, she dyes yarn inspired by paintings, and I come from an artistic background. Little brief overview of me, I basically went to college and did art and design in college, and then I went on to university and got a degree in animation. So I am an artist, so to speak. So as soon as I discovered her yarn, I fell in love, because it speaks to me on a number of levels. So I highly admire her for that. And she's also the first independent yarn dyer that I bought yarn from. So yeah, she's pretty special. So that's the yarn artist. And she's also if you go back and check my Vlogmas videos from 2022, so last year, she was the dyer that I got my my yarn advent calendar from for that 2022 Vlogmas. And yeah, I mean, that tells you all you need to know really about her, because her yarn is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, it just really does, it looks as it should. Do you know what I mean? Like the paintings, it has the feel of the paintings. It's beautiful. So yeah, that would be the one, the dyer that I absolutely admire. I mean, there are many that I love: Fruitful Fusion, Boss Castle Yarn, Botanical Yarn, Beehive Yarns, Dye and Knit by Kate, Siobhan Crafts, Woolly Mama, Zakami Yarns. Oh my gosh, there's just so many. And that's not even, that's just UK dyers. That's not even jumping across the waters to some of you absolutely wonderfully talented dyers abroad. I absolutely adore indie dyers. I think they are extremely skilled. The thought and process behind the yarn is absolutely amazing, and I'm just in awe by everyone actually, because everybody has different reasons for dyeing, everyone has different techniques, and it's just beautiful. And I love singing the praises of such talented people. And yeah, I love supporting small business, so I will always sing the praises of any dyer that I buy yarn from, any independent dyer that I buy yarn from, and I will always let you know of anyone that I particularly admire. But yeah, if it was down to one, it would be the yarn artist, and again, that is purely because she was the first I found, and her inspiration speaks to me on a different level. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so that moves us on into the next section, which is Apex Yarn. So Apex Yarn is my little hand-dyed business. So my yarn is hand-dyed and my inspiration is motorsport. So that is a little overview of my little company, my little yarn dyeing business. So I'm sort of jumping questions here, so I'm going to start from the start. The first question is, are you offering postage for Ireland yet? The answer to that is yes, I think I am. I think I've set up everything now that I am now able to post abroad. Yay, I'm so pleased. It was always the plan to set up postage for countries outside of the UK, because I am a UK dyer, so everything that I dye comes from the UK. So when I first set up my little shop, it's on Etsy, I was extremely new to everything, and I thought I need to just make sure that everything runs perfectly first before I can offer postage abroad to me, outside the UK, there we go. And I basically got a question, I think probably a month ago, about this, and would I be offering it abroad? And then I thought, yes, I'll give it a go. So I set it all up, and the first package went abroad. It went abroad to me, and I believe everything went okay. I have tracked it, and it looks to have arrived okay. I've not heard anything back from the person who purchased the item, so I am pretty confident. I didn't want to sing it to the rooftops until I had, you know, a bit more of an idea that everything had gone smoothly. But yes, in answer to your question, I now post outside of the UK. So yes, I will do post to Ireland. However, if for some reason you have any trouble with it, please message me on Etsy and I will have a look at the settings again, because as I say, I am completely new to posting abroad. So I believe I've covered all bases, but there is every possibility I have missed something. So please, if you have any trouble with the postage, getting the postage sorted to your country, please let me know on Etsy and I will see what I can do. Right, the next question is, how did you get into hand dyeing yarns? So, as I have briefly explained, I am from an artistic background. My current job, this I will get there in a minute, hang on. This is like the story before the answer, if you will. It seems to be a thing with me. Okay, so I'm an artistic person, and ended up having to make a very difficult decision a few years after I finished university. And I basically had to make the decision of I either bite the bullet, I either keep trying in an industry that wasn't ready, or I just not necessarily give up, but put a pin in it and get a job, basically. get a different kind of job in a different field. I made that decision. I don't regret it because it was a choice I made. I do miss very much the crafting side of things. I very much miss just being artistic and just flexing those artistic muscles. It's really hard. So my job is not artistic in any way, shape or form. It's all based around numbers. So there's a definite answer and there are specific ways to do things. And I kind of felt like I was in a bit of a lull for quite some time. And I got very down about it because, as I say, I always dreamed I would be an artist. Growing up, it was what I wanted to do, it's what I wanted to be. And I think it was hard to accept that that dream was no longer going to be possible. You know, life happens. We have to make choices and we have to deviate from our chosen path. So what that meant was that I then decided I need to do something crafty. So obviously I picked up knitting and crochet again, really loved it. And then I discovered the world of yarn dyeing. And it was within that I thought, I have another hobby that seems to be missing from the world of yarn. I understand why, because it's a very niche hobby, I think, for the craft that we do. And the hobby is motorsport. So I absolutely love motorsport. It's just something I love. And there is a question a bit later that I'm going to answer, so I'll delve into that a bit more then. But yeah, so motorsport is a massive thing for me. And I kind of thought, well, maybe there are some others out there who would quite like a bit of motorsport in their yarn. Maybe, because I kind of want to try dyeing yarn. And yeah, I thought, why not give this a go? So I then decided that I was going to have a practice at dyeing yarn, and I was going to try and dye yarn inspired by motorsport. And one thing led to another. Really enjoyed dyeing yarn, and I ended up, sorry, this bit's really messy. It's really messy. So I ended up thinking that, yes, I really enjoy dyeing yarn and I feel like there's a gap in the market. So that is why I decided to start dyeing yarn, really. And it is so much fun to do. I highly recommend you trying it out, actually. There are a number of courses. I learned on Craftsy. I then learned through trial and error. And there are a number of other courses that you can look at as well, which is really, really helpful, that can help you along your yarn dyeing journey. But I do highly recommend it. It is so much fun. It's all right. I'm trying to figure this bit out. It's a bit messy. I do highly recommend it. It is extremely good fun. And yeah, it just opens up so many doors because you can dye yarn in a colourway that you want. And I do feel like that my little hand-dyed yarn business is a massive indulge to myself. So I'm not expecting, I'm not expecting it to be super popular. That's not really why I dye the yarn. I dye the yarn in case there is anyone out there who, like myself, would really like to have yarn inspired by a certain vehicle, a certain livery, a certain aspect of motorsport. And some of these colours I really wanted to bring to the crafting world anyway, because some of these colours are absolutely stunning and I think they deserve to be knit up or crocheted up into a sweater or a pair of socks. And yeah, I just wanted to bring a bit of the motorsport world into the crafting world. So a bit of me into the crafting world. And that is my little hand-dyed yarn business and why I got into it. Not really in a nutshell, but kind of in a nutshell. Right, so the final question on Apex Yarn or yarn dyeing is, have you used Skittles or food colouring for your hand-dyed yarn? The answer to that is no. I love the sound of it. It sounds ace. I would never be able to get a pack of Skittles further than my mouth, basically, because Skittles I love, and I am a massive sweet tooth, so I would eat those Skittles if I'm honest. Food colouring isn't really something that we have in the house, so I would have to go out specifically to buy it, and I am not entirely sure in terms of food colouring and yarn as to the stability of the yarn, the stability of the dye, if you will. I know with acid dye it is very good for the fibres that I dye, and that's what it's made for, basically. So food colouring isn't necessarily made for dyeing yarn. Although having said that, I do kind of want to try natural dyeing, so along that vein, but more using plants and things like that. I'm quite intrigued by that, so yeah. But yeah, so no, I've not tried them, and I don't think I will, just because as I say, I love Skittles, so I will eat them. And yeah, food colouring, it just isn't something that we have in the house. So, but I am all for experimentation, and I think that's the best way to learn as well. So it would be very interesting to see experiments using those as dye. That would be really interesting. But yeah, that's the answer to your question. So the next question is kind of a standalone, but it kind of follows on from my little business. So hang on, this is awkward. Oh, I decided to tie in an end where I really didn't need to. Hang on. Oh dear. This shawl is taking me absolutely ages. That's as far as I've got. Oh my gosh, it is. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. And let me just get this end going again, and then I'll ask the question. Oh my goodness, why did I think I'd be able to answer questions while unraveling yarn? Yeah, okay, we're going. Okay, so the next question is technically a hobby, so I've lumped it into a little hobby section. How did you become interested in car racing? So for me, motorsport has been an interest in my family for as long as I can remember. My dad usually watches the Grand Prix, the Formula 1 Grand Prix. He'll usually put it on, on a Sunday. He'll usually put it on, and he will do the ironing when he's watching it. So obviously on a Sunday, it was always on whenever there was a Grand Prix, and I grew up, I don't know where my end is. I've lost my end. Ah, here it is, I think. Is that the end? Yes, all right. So I grew up with the Grand Prix always on. So that was the first inkling. And then flash forward to 2011, and I decided that I wanted to join my dad and go to the Le Mans 24-hour race. My dad used to go with one of my uncles. He used to go with his mates, and they always used to rave about how amazing it was to go to, and how amazing a place it was, and what a great race. And they raved about it so much that I thought, I need to get on this train. I need to go and experience it, even if it's just once. I've got to go and experience. And that's what I did. In 2011, it was my first Le Mans, and it was absolutely amazing. So just a quick information on Le Mans. It is the 24-hour motorsport race that happens in the town of Le Mans in France, and it happens every year. And it does what it says on the tin. It's a 24-hour motorsport race. So they start the race, I think, I'm going to get this totally wrong. Is it 3 or 4? I always get this wrong. They start the race, we'll go with 3. They start the race about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on the Saturday, and the race ends about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on the Sunday. So 24 hours they are going. Each car has about 3 drivers per car, and the idea is that throughout the race they change drivers, because you cannot do, I think they used to do it in the olden days, but you can't really do an entire race an entire 24-hour race with just one driver. It's not recommended. But I think now they have to have a minimum of 3 drivers that have to do a maximum, can only do a maximum, I think, of 4-hour stints in the car before they need to change the driver. I'm just gonna have a sip. But yeah, I basically went along and I absolutely loved it. Let me tell you that. Absolutely loved it. The atmosphere is phenomenal, and it's just, the race itself is so good. There's a lot of test of machine, a lot of test of driver, massive test of the team, and it is basically a team effort. Everyone is important. I'm not saying that any other motorsport isn't the same. It is very much the same, but it's definitely felt at Le Mans that it is a huge team effort to get these cars to run and last for 24 hours in a motorsport race. It's just phenomenal. Hang on, there we go. And yeah, basically, I was going to say long story short, it's quite a long story long, isn't it, really? Basically, I went, absolutely loved it, fell in love with Le Mans itself as a town. It's beautiful. We camped on the Mulsanne corner, and we were meters from the track, basically. It was obviously behind a massive gate, a massive fence, and there was a big bank, and oh yeah, it was amazing. So basically we camped, and you can feel the rumble of the cars underneath you as you're trying to sleep. It's wonderful. And I always say Le Mans is the one place that I always have a really good night's sleep. Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely amazing. So that is, when I came home from that, I was a changed woman, basically. I never went back. I was hooked. And ever since, I have tried to go to the 24-hour race of Le Mans every year. It happens in June. I think it's the second weekend in June. Could be wrong. I think it's the second weekend in June. You'd think I'd know this, the amount of times I've been. We didn't go the year before COVID because it was my partner's mum's birthday. It was a very special birthday, so there was no way we were missing it. And it just so happens that her birthday was the same time as Le Mans. That's perfectly fine. You know, you've got to have priorities. But we went to the Spa 24-hour, which was great. But anyway, long story short, I became hooked and I absolutely love motorsport. I then decided to become a marshal. So I marshalled a number of races at Donington. Donington was where I based myself. I did a lot of vintage races. I did the trucks races, which was great. I also did the historic Le Mans series, the historic Le Mans cars at Donington. Absolutely love Donington. But yeah, so I love being a marshal, but when we moved here, it takes a lot longer to get to Donington. Although I live really close to Silverstone, I don't particularly want to marshal Silverstone because I just love Donington. It holds a special place in my heart. But anyway, oh my gosh, completely segueing. Yeah, so basically it was the 2011 Le Mans 24-hour race that really hooked me into motorsport. And yeah, been hooked ever since. It is also, fun fact, a little bonus fact for you here, it is also where I met my partner. In 2014, I met my partner at the 24-hour Le Mans race. My dad always says that he finds it funny that he let me go off in France at a motorsport race at I can't remember what time it was late anyway, but he just let me go off and meet a random person that I'd met on the internet. I met him on Instagram. And he said he still can't believe that he let me do that, but I'm so glad he did, because me and my partner, yeah, match made in heaven, basically. Could not be happier. So yeah, we both absolutely love motorsport, which is handy. And yeah, it's just been interested ever since. I tried not to waffle on that one, but I'm always going to, aren't I? It's a hobby, something I'm really passionate about. So yeah, that's where it all started. Right, on to the next question. Sorry, that one took a major segue, didn't it? I'm just checking the time. Oh my gosh, yeah. I tell you what I'm going to do. I've got 3 questions left, I think. Is it 3 questions? Oh no, I've got plenty left. No, we'll carry on. Just excuse the fact that this is going to be a real long video. Right, on to the next question, which is a sewing question. So, could you do a tutorial on how to make your project bags, please? I would love to, but I don't think I could do it as a tutorial. And the reason I don't think I could do it as a tutorial is because it's not my pattern. The pattern is by Stitch Mischief, I believe. I will put the link below. So I wouldn't be able to do like a full-on tutorial. I could probably do a sew-along, because a sew-along I can keep it vague enough that it's not revealing the full pattern to you, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't be able to do a tutorial. I wouldn't feel right doing a tutorial, as I say, purely because it's not my pattern, and I just don't feel comfortable doing a tutorial on someone else's pattern. And I don't think I don't know if it's something that they would allow anyway. But yeah, that is that. But I could do a sew along. Yeah, so my apologies for that. But as I say, because it's not my own, I can't really do a full-blown tutorial. Right, the next section is other crafts. So what other crafts do you do? Well, oh, hang on, there we go. Other crafts that I do. So I knit, as you know, I crochet, again, as you know, and I sew, also, as you know. What other crafts do I do other than that? Nothing specifically, I would say. I do draw. It has been a while since I last drew anything. I might put a sneaky, which way shall I lean? This way. I might put a sneaky little picture in here of my most recent drawing that I did. I did colour it on my computer, digitally coloured, and it's just very loosely, but yeah, that's a drawing that I've done recently, although that was probably a couple of years ago. I do love drawing, but as I say, it holds a bit of bittersweet memories for me at the minute, so I'm still trying to get myself back into it. So hopefully I can get back into it as soon as possible, but yeah, I do love drawing. Trying to think, are there any other crafts that I do? I've tried embroidery. Oh, actually, hang on. I think, yeah, no, we'll save that for the next question, the question below the next one. But yes, drawing is another one that I do in terms of crafts. And I do think that's it, actually, in terms of crafts that I do actively. Although, as I say, drawing I've not done for a couple of months, a little while, so I could do with getting back into that. Right, next question. Are there crafts you want to try but haven't yet? Crafts I want to try. Oh my gosh, I don't know, you know. I was about to say Tunisian crochet, but I have done some Tunisian crochet, so I have tried that and I do like it very much. And if I can get a nice set of Tunisian crochet hooks, I will probably do more. But I have tried that, so that I can't really use that one. That's cheating a bit, isn't it? Crafts I haven't tried that I want to try. Oh my gosh, I don't know, you know. I really don't know. There aren't any that spring to mind, to be honest. My partner does paint models, so he paints, sorry, his desk is over there. He's tidied it, it looks amazing. He paints cars and planes and things like that, and like Warhammer models and stuff, and they look really good. So probably that, I'd probably like to try that. I just don't think I have the patience for it, which is weird to say because obviously I'm a knitter and I'm saying I don't have patience to paint a car. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that, I think. I can't think of any others off the top of my head though. Let me know if you do any other crafts other than knitting and crochet in the comments below, and maybe I can get some inspiration from them. Yeah, that'd be quite interesting. Let me know what other crafts you do. Oh, quilting, there we go. Although I have done some quilting, so again, that's kind of a cheeky answer, but I do, yeah, I'd like to do more quilting, because like some proper quilting, because I absolutely love the way it looks, and yeah, That is one, but that's kind of sewing, isn't it? I don't know, it's hard to tell. Right, the next question is, are there crafts you've tried in the past, then realised they weren't for you and abandoned? I have been a lifelong crazy craft lady, but narrowed my focus down to fibre and paper, which doesn't narrow it down all that much. No, it doesn't, does it? Right, so are there crafts I've tried in the past and realised that? Okay, so I did try, and I'm currently is one of my works in progress. I have tried punch needlework. I think that's what it's called. I got a kit from Toft to make a line, and I do like it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. I think I've not done enough of it to get a full feel for it. But yeah, I'm just not sure. I feel like the yarn just isn't as secure as I'd like it to be, and I feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I'm not comfortable with it, so that could be why. But it's not something I think that I'd want, or it's not something that I can see myself doing more of, because I just don't know where I'd apply it, if that makes sense. At least with knitting, I know where I'm applying it. So yeah, that's one. Another craft that I have tried, and that technically is a work in progress, but I'm not really counting it, is embroidery. I have tried embroidery. I used to cross stitch actually, many years ago. I don't understand where the thread is for this next bit. I don't know where it is. Yes, so I've tried embroidery and I'm not a massive fan. A friend of mine is really good at embroidery. She's so good at it. It's amazing. But yeah, I don't think embroidery is for me. Neither is punch needlework. Again, I just don't know where I would apply the craft. Embroidery I could apply to probably, I don't know, some people do embroidery on knitted things, they do it on sewn things, so I could apply it there. But yeah, it's just not a craft that I would dedicate a lot of time into learning more about, because it's just not something that I feel I would get much out of, if that makes sense. As beautiful as both the crafts, as beautiful as the crafts are, I just can't see them being massively useful for me, basically. So there's two for you. Right, on to the next question, which is based on travel. So I'm just trying to figure out what is happening here, because I can't find the end of what I need. Let's just carry on, shall we? Travel. So what are the top 3 places you want to visit, since Bruges and Scotland are ones I know you've been to? So yeah, Bruges and Scotland are absolutely amazing places, highly recommend them. But 3 top places I want to visit. So I'm not entirely sure if that means I can use places that I have already been that I do want to go to again. So I'll give you a couple. I would really love to go back to Iceland. Absolutely love it there. It is beautiful. Such a stunning country. And for an anxious person, I am extremely anxious. I have never felt so calm in my entire life than I did when I was in Iceland. It was stunning. I would like to go to Iceland because we went in February a few years ago, and beautiful, very cold. We loved the cold weather, me and my partner, and it was just amazing. It was so good. Oh, it's just a beautiful country, beautiful country. So I would like to go there again. We were extremely lucky and we got to see the Northern Lights, and we stayed in a hotel in, where was it? It was between Reykjavik and Vik, and beautiful hotel. It was stunning, and it was in the middle of nowhere, which isn't hard really in Iceland, because once you get out of Reykjavik it's very sparse. And it's amazing. You get to go in the hot tub in the snow. It was just the ultimate in cozy. It was amazing. I will try and put some pictures in, possibly, if I can. So it was absolutely beautiful. Really love it there. Highly recommend Iceland. The nice thing about the hotel, especially the one that we stayed at, that was outside of Reykjavik, you could basically put your name down on the desk, put your room number down, and you could ask them to give you a call if the Northern Lights come out. At any time in the night they can call you. It's just when the Northern Lights come out, and we opted for that. Then we settled down, like as soon as we got there, we settled down for the first meal, the first night, and we were eating our meal in the restaurant. The manager, very lovely manager, came round, introduced themselves to everybody, and just checking that everybody was enjoying their meal and everything like that. We had a really fancy meal, it was beautiful. And then the next thing we knew, he came back into the room. He had a glass and he chinked the glass, ching, ching, ching. And he said, just to let you all know, the Northern Lights are outside. And we were like, oh my gosh, our first night here and they're out. It was like everybody abandoned their meal and just went outside. And I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I get quite emotional actually. It was just, it was unreal. Oh, yeah. I'd go back in a heartbeat, really would. And yeah, and then pretty much every night after that, they phoned us to say the Northern Lights were outside, to the point, because we went out every time, and then it got to the point that we were getting towards the end of our stay at that particular hotel before we went back to Reykjavik and stayed a couple more nights in Reykjavik. And it got to the point where they phoned and we were like, I don't feel like getting out of bed. And we didn't go. But yes, I do highly, highly recommend Iceland, and I do want to go back. Preferably perhaps in summer this time, so that we can go back to Jökulsárlón, where the glacier lagoon, basically. So it's where the, there we go. It's where the glacier meets it's like a little lake before it goes out into the sea. And you can, at certain times of year, you can actually get on a boat that will take you up to the edge of the glacier. But other times of years, there's just icebergs, massive icebergs, just in this lagoon. And then when you come out onto the beach, there's just icebergs on the beach and in the sea. It's incredible. Highly recommend it. It's amazing. But yes, I'd like to go back in summer so that we can see a little bit more on maybe inland a bit further. But it's amazing. Anyway, this is supposed to be a short thing. I'm just giving you my life story and travel. Another place that I would like to go back to is Japan. Absolutely love Japan. It is just such an incredible place. Yeah, this just, again, I'll try and put some photos in. If I have some, and if I have time to put photos in, I will. Japan is just amazing. It's such a beautiful place, beautiful country, beautiful people. They are such wonderful, friendly, inviting, just so hospitable and so generous and kind. Yeah, we absolutely loved it there. So we went to Tokyo, we went to Kyoto, we went to Osaka, went to Hiroshima, Miyajima, which is just across from Hiroshima. But we did miss a lot in Hiroshima because the queue to get up the mountain in Miyajima was so long, and I really wanted to go to the Peace Museum, but we didn't have time. So that is definitely something that I want to go back and do. Plus, okay, on the vein of places that I haven't been, I would like to go to the northern island of Japan. I really would. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I'd like to go to Korea, South Korea. My partner's been, he worked in Korea for, I don't know, a little while. He worked in Korea for a little while. And yeah, he just wants to go back. I've never been to Korea, so this is one that I've never been to that I would like to go. And yeah, the plan next year, because I've got a big birthday next year, spoiler warning, big birthday. The plan was for us on my birthday to go to Korea, spend a few days in Korea or maybe a week in Korea, and then get a boat across from Korea to Japan and just travel across Japan all the way back to Tokyo. That was the plan, but my partner has since got a new job. So he doesn't start his new job till April, so we can't really take 3 weeks off work when he's just started a new job. So that's going to kind of hit the back burner. But we do have other plans, so it's all good. Backup plans, obviously. But yeah, so really like to go to Korea. That is one place I've not been that I'd like to go. I would love to go to Norway. I love that part of the country, absolutely that part of the world, beautiful place. Never been, would love to go. My cousin and my aunts and uncles went this year, and they said it was absolutely amazing. So I would really like to go. So Norway and Korea are places I've never been that I'd like to go. One more. Oh, I don't know, you know. The thing is, I never know where I want to go. I always said the one place I really wanted to go was Japan. Always wanted to go to Japan, never thought it would happen. Met my partner and I've been travelling to so many places that I never thought I'd travel to. I've just seen the postman, so I may get disturbed in a moment, but yeah, hopefully not. Yes, so those are two places that I'd like to go, Norway and Korea, and I'd love to go back to Iceland and Japan. Well, I wouldn't mind going to Greenland, actually. Are you sensing a theme here? I like cold places. So I wouldn't mind going to Greenland. Okay, so we've got it. Norway, Korea and Greenland. Yes, those are places I'd like to go. Sorry for the long story. Right. Oh, where am I? This is not going well at all. Where's my next end? I need an end. Oh my goodness. Oh, just checking if the postman's coming. He's not at the minute. I'm also just checking. Oh, here we go. I've got my end. I'm just doing a battery check as well. Everything looks good. I'm still recording. Batteries look okay, I think. I don't know what my phone battery is, but I think it's going to be better than my tablet battery, so we're all good. Okay, so next question. Which crafty YouTube... subsection is YouTube. This is also the final section, so this is where I'm at with my shawl. I don't think I'm going to get to my for fuck's sake, so because this video is already very long, so I will frog that off camera. I think that's the best thing to do with that. But hey, we're frogging together, it's all good, and I am waffling at you. I haven't seen the postman yet. I can see his van because he parks where I can see him. Yes, hang on. Oh, why did I lift the project up? I can't see him yet. I hope he's got my Toft Advent, actually. Hopefully. We'll see. Anywho, okay, question. YouTube questions. Which crafty YouTube channel did you first start watching? So, I think... I'm not 100% sure because there's every chance. I think Very Pink Knits. Oh, I see him. He's on his way. Oh, he's going to be very confused by the light. Oh my gosh, this is not good. Hang on, I need to cut this. There we go. He doesn't know I do YouTube, so it's going to be interesting. Right, I'm going to pause it actually because I think he's going to come to the door. So right, where we live, we get a view of the whole road, so I get to be a super nosy neighbour, and I've got a very strong feeling that he is going to come here. So I'm not going to answer the question just yet, but yes, for fuck's sake, I'm going to frog that off camera. I hope... Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, there was a parcel. It was not the Toft parcel, which I had hoped it would be, but I was very convinced that he would be ringing the doorbell, bless him. He's a very nice postman, and I do feel very blessed because, yeah, he's just a nice man. He's very, very helpful, our postie. Yes, right, where was I? Okay, we can get back into the... I don't know what is happening here. This is not ideal, is it? I'm just going to snip this, actually, because I don't think it's going to be ideal again. I do also need to watch the time because I have my my business coaching session today soon that I need to keep an eye on time-wise. Right, now we're actually nearly there, so... Oh. Gosh. This is not going to plan. There we go. Right, okay. Hopefully we're there. Are we there? I think we're there. Oh my goodness. I think it's because I actually tied in an end and it's causing me issues. Sorry, bear with me. This is not what I had planned. Right, can I get that out yet? Nope. I've also not heard about my car either, so I'm a bit nervous that I've either missed the call or it's bad news. Hopefully it's all good. Oh my goodness, what a day this is turning out to be. It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. My car's going to absolutely ace it and everything will be good, basically. Right, I'm going to snip that there. Oh my goodness, this is hard work. You just think when you frog something it's just going to be really, really easy just to yank all the yarn out. But no, it doesn't happen that way, does it? It's extremely difficult. Right, are we there yet? Almost. Oh, I think we're there. I think we're there. Right, that can come out. Fabulous. I talk to myself as well. My partner finds it hilarious. I don't know if you do that as well, but I do. Right, okay, I think we're there. Yes, and we have an end. Brilliant. Right, now, sorry for that little moment. Right, on to the YouTube questions. Which crafty YouTube channel did you first start watching? Now, as I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Very Pink Knits is probably the first because when I started getting back into knitting and crafting and everything, I needed, you know, you just kind of look up certain videos for how to do a certain stitch or, you know, little hints and tips and things like that. So Very Pink Knits is probably the first crafty YouTube channel I started watching. But I think in terms of podcasters or, you know, crafters that do similar sort of content that I do, I would probably say Natty, actually. Yeah, I think I've got a feeling it's Natty. And then just developed. I discovered podcasts and oh my gosh, that sort of knitting content, and then it just opened a whole new world for me, and I started watching loads of YouTubers. It was great. Right, now on to the second question, which is there one that particularly inspired you to start your own channel? I would probably say not. It's a difficult question because I've been on the fence about starting a YouTube channel for many years, and I initially wanted to start a gaming YouTube channel. That's what I wanted to start with, but then I quickly kind of moved away from that because I love gaming. It's something I absolutely adore to do, but because a lot of the work that I do at work is using a computer screen, when I get home to wind down, I tend to do some gaming and things like that. But then I sort of didn't really like the idea of thinking that doing a YouTube channel on gaming would mean that I would have so much screen time, it would be ridiculous. So I kind of thought, well, maybe knock the gaming channel on the head. I still keep thinking about it every so often because I love gaming, and as I said earlier, I love talking to myself. So my partner always says, just make a YouTube channel of cooking tea, because I just talk to myself while I'm cooking tea, and he finds it hilarious. But yeah, in terms of actually starting this channel, however, I would say I probably went down the rabbit hole of Natty. I was thinking, oh, actually, that's a really good idea, because it would be really good to do a channel that I can kind of map my progress on projects. I can, you know, have a record of yarn that I've used in a project. You know, how long a certain project took me, for example, because I'm not very good at keeping up with Ravelry, I think you'll have noticed. So I thought it'd be a great place just to have like an archive, if you will, to have everything in one place. And yeah, the other idea was, because I live in a very small village, I kind of don't really have access to a local yarn store. However, that has kind of changed recently because I have discovered a local yarn store, and I am so excited. I'll explain in my my podcast. But yes, I'm very excited about that. But yeah, so I didn't really, oh my gosh, I didn't really, oh my goodness, oh no, I'll be back, hang on. Oh my goodness, right, there we go. Okay, so I didn't really have a nice way to meet fellow crafters, to, you know, yeah, to meet fellow crafters, to talk with fellow crafters, to be friends with fellow crafters. And I felt like I was driving everyone around me mad by just going on about crafty stuff that they, one, didn't care about, and two, had heard enough of, you know. So for me, it was nice. It was that thought of community and getting to know yourselves, and just, yeah, being around more crafty people. I really wanted that. So yeah, that's part of the reason. And then, as I say, Natty segued me over to Knit365, Martyn at Knit365. Absolutely love his channel, and I was starting to get the inklings at that point of maybe I can do a little channel. Maybe I can do this. And then not long before I did Vlogmas, I got a yarn advent calendar. It was the first one. I thought I really need to do Vlogmas. I'd like to do Vlogmas because I've got this yarn advent calendar. It'd be nice to share it with people who understand. And yeah, and it was around just before December that I started watching, I can't remember when I started watching her channel actually, but Michelle from Shellstar Stitches is another channel that I absolutely adore, and I started watching her channel and I just got even more inspired, and I just thought, you know what, I think I can do this. I think I can, sorry, I'm getting notifications again. I thought, I think I can do this. I think it's okay to do a channel, I think. And yeah, that's kind of, so I would probably say it is a culmination of wanting to start YouTube, wanting to reach out to the crafting community, get to know, make friends within the crafting community, and then the channels, Nitty Natty's channel, Martyn from Knit365, and Michelle from Shellstar Stitches all heavily influenced me. So yes, thank you all very much if you watch this. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's probably where, I keep saying in a nutshell, it's not in a nutshell because we're what, really far through this video now. Thank you for staying for the long haul. We're on the last question, so buckle up. It's quite a nice question actually, so we're all good. So the last question on the YouTube on the YouTube category is, have you made a video about your favourite knitting needles? I kind of have. So I did a video. I did a two-parter because when I was away in Bruges, I wanted something for yourselves to watch. And I did a two-parter. The first part was I'm trying to remember the name of it. My crafting journey through knitting needles. So basically the video takes you through my crafting journey, but through knitting needles. So it's basically what I just said, wasn't it? So basically I start off with explaining the first knitting needles I got, and then the evolution through my crafting journey, the evolution of the knitting needles that I use basically. And that video ends on the current knitting needles that I use. And that will also cover favourite knitting needles, because the ones I use now are favourites. You know, I thought it was a fun video to do because you sort of go through a journey similar to crafting. You go through a little journey of the tools and you learn what you like, what you don't like, you learn what works, what definitely doesn't work. And it's really helpful, I think, as is probably the reason for your question. It's really helpful to learn what other people use, because you might find something that you've never used before, you've never heard of before, and you think, oh, actually that might be quite nice, I quite want to try that. So that video is there. I have now added it to a playlist because there are two videos, as I said, and bear with me. I think I'm swallowing fibres again, always fun. Oh my goodness, right, back on it. So yeah, that video is there, and it is in the playlist because I did two videos. The one was my crafting journey through knitting needles. That's probably not the title, but it's something like that. I am swallowing there's fibres just everywhere, just floating in the air. So yeah, journey through crafting knitting needles, and then journey through crafting crochet hooks. So they are both there. They are both in a playlist. But I will try, I've never been able to do this yet, but I might be able to, I don't know. But I'm going to try and put a card, I don't know where it'll be, but a card to that video. If I haven't managed that, there will be down below a link to that video. If I can do that, I'm not sure if I can. Hopefully I can. But yes, that I will try and link for you. So that brings us to the end of all the questions. Again, thank you so much for taking part in giving me questions. They have all been amazing, and I was amazed that I think there were only 2 duplications in all of the questions. So it was absolutely brilliant. I'm just double checking that I have answered every single one. I think I have. Yeah, so much fun. Thank you. I hope that is fun for you to watch, to listen to. I will show you what I've done in terms of my frogging in the last hour and a half or whatever. I apologise for the length of the video, but this is where I'm at with this shawl. Nearly there, but it took a bit longer because I had actually tied a couple of ends in, and that adds a bit of extra fun times to it. And yeah, obviously there are the problems where there's the holes, and that causes more problems and such. I have frogged the socks. They are here, all frogged, all good. Helps if it focuses. Why we're not focusing. Hang on. There we go. Okay, we're on it. So that's those. They're good. This is the streamlined tank. All good. I didn't actually use my ball winder, but I will use it when I frog my For Fox's Sake sweater, but I will do that off camera, I think. This shawl, I've got this ball at the minute. I don't know why I didn't add this to the ball winder. I know I said I did, but I think because there's so many holes in this, the yarn keeps breaking. So this is the biggest ball I've got so far. So I didn't want to risk putting it on the ball winder and then have the yarn break and be like, oh no, just not in the mood for that. In terms of in terms of the yarn from that, I've got, oh my gosh, I've got all of these. There you go. Oh, another one here. Oh, it's on the floor. There's one on the floor. I have all of these. It is a right mess. And I have, oh my gosh, all of these. Oh no, there you go. Another one on the floor. So there's a lot of yarn here. But yes, so because this video is so long, I will just briefly tell you what I'm planning to do. All of these little scraps for my On the Spice Market shawl, I'm going to put in this bag, because this bag is where all the leftover yarns are for this shawl. So if I can get all of those in there, that's them kind of organised, if you will. And then when I come to make the shawl, I know where they all are. They're all in here. I can just grab what I need. The only thing I would say with these is some are quite curly and quite small, so I'll have to make a decision as to which scraps I'm going to use. Obviously there's some that are bigger than others, so these are going to be much more useful. There's one here that's nice and big, so that's good. Let me grab the rest. There we go. So, there we go. So that they're all in there now. There you go. All the leftovers that I've done so far. I will finish frogging this in a bit. I need to have some lunch, and then I have a meeting and various bits and bobs that I need to do today. Yeah, so I haven't been able to show you everything that I'm frogging. I have shown you the projects. Obviously I need to frog this bad boy as well. But yes, I have answered all the questions, and I didn't really think much further than that. I kind of thought the frogging would be a lot quicker than it was, and it wasn't. So, and I even waffled on questions, so again, my apologies. Yes, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you managed to get a lot more frogging done than I did, and I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed the questions. If there are any comments that you have, any thoughts, let me know, as I said, about when you learn to knit, or craft even, whichever craft you do. Let me know how, when you started, who taught you. little things like that. Just let me know a little bit about yourselves. It's very exciting, and obviously any of the questions that I have answered, please feel free to let me know your thoughts and let me know what your answers would be. Some of the questions might really make you think, oh, I'd like to answer that. Let me know below, because it just helps us all get to know each other a bit better. And yeah, it's been fun. But yes, I really do need to end the video. So apologies that I have been unable to show you the full extent of everything frogged. But yes, the plan for On Spice Market, once it's frogged, I will eventually cast it on again. You will know about this because it will be in my podcast. It will also, it will be in my podcast. For fuck's sake, same thing. I will be casting this back on. I will also be casting the socks back on at some point. But in this way, gets these things off the needle, less stress and lower whips, and I can manage everything a bit better. So I hope you've had fun. I hope you've managed to get lots of frogging done. And yeah, just hope you've enjoyed the video. It is very different to what I normally do. And again, thank you so much for all the questions. I am going to put a little thing here, a thank you message to every single one of you that asked me a question. So a massive thank you to all of you who asked the questions. As I say, it was so much fun to answer them. And yeah, it's just really nice to be able to connect with you all on a different level. So again, thank you all so much, and thank you all for watching. It really does mean the absolute world to me. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.